full thing and then it didn't record. And that is the pinnacle of feeling like a moron. So, yeah. But recording now, 5:08 p.m. Eastern Time, September 3rd, August 34th, 2020. 5:08 p.m. Cool. Eastern Time with Nick, who you emailed me about Ken Mason and the Sea Dragon. And the Sea Dragon's fucking awesome. And
oh, it is.
Yeah, and Ken's going to come on again Wednesday because he was excited by your excitement. I forwarded those emails, which I'm sure you're aware of. And you're going to come on as well. And, yeah, needed a guest today. Figured we could put some questions together, talk about the Sea Dragon. And did you ever see how I got I guess that wasn't included. How I actually, like, met Ken was I have a subreddit called Funner History. Funner. It's just all photoshops, just fake history, right? It's like F-117 Nighthawks in Nazi Germany and shit. And I made one back in like January or December, and it was because Elon Musk has the BFR, the big fucking rocket, big Falcon rocket, and I was like, man, if he made an even bigger one, I was like, what would it be called? And I made an acronym that's kind of believable, but it's motherfucker, but it's just no vowels, MTHRFCKR. And it's like 900 feet tall. It's got like 1 billion pounds of thrust. And but yeah, because I had been watching a lot of videos on the Sea Dragon. And yeah, someone commented. They were like, "Oh, I love the Sea Dragon. Like this reminds me of the Sea Dragon." I was like, "That's where I was inspired from." And he was like, "Yeah, the creator Bob Truax is a great guy." And I was like, "Who are you?" And we started talking, and Ken did it. Ken was like podcast guest 11. Normally, I get more people on now that I'm at 175. They see it's a real thing. Ken didn't give a fuck. I was like, yeah, man, I just started the podcast a week ago. He was like, cool, let's do it. I was like, fuck yeah. Ken was, But,
it was, I saw that. I first learned about this from that Reddit thread that you started. Yeah, I have it up right now, actually, where you ask people for questions and everything. And, I first learned about Sea Dragon from this book called Things of the High Frontier. Okay. It's a work of fiction. It's a libertarian science fiction book. Mm-hmm. It's not a great book overall, I'd say, but it introduced me to the concept of Sea Dragon because, like, these two characters, they were debating what they should do, big project they should do, and they brought up this idea from the 1960s, and like I was reading about it, and I was like, wow, that's ingenious. Like, why didn't anybody think of this before? Like a sea-launched rocket? Like, that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna turn on the lights in here. Hold on. The first time I saw the Sea Dragon, there we go. Gotta do the contrast. But I'm in a dark room with a bright screen. It hurts my bitch eyes. But yeah, Curious Droid. Do you ever watch that YouTube channel?
Curious Droid, yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw his Sea Dragon one whenever that came out, and that was the first one that put it in my mind. I was like, whoa, that's one big dumb booster bringing it out of the ocean. I was like, why? But it does beg the question: how come? Why didn't it become real? I mean, right? Yeah, it seems.
Yeah, I guess from what I read, I'm not an aerospace engineer, like I said. I'm not really an expert in the area, but from what I read, like there just wasn't. It was just too big, like there just wasn't a need to lock that much stuff into space. And like even today, I guess maybe there isn't still that demand. Yeah. But I look at Sea Dragon and I think like, compared to the space shuttle, compared to how complex the space shuttle was, like, we had 2 of them blow up and everything. I'm thinking like, why, like compared to that, like, why wouldn't we want a Sea Dragon? Like, the ability to lift that much mass into orbit is just incredible. Like,
it does seem odd because it's not even something like solar power or like electric powered cars where like the rational mind says, how come we don't have more of that? Climate change and just energy independence in general. And I mean, and the reality is there's a lot of, there is a lot of price fixing. There's a lot of market manipulation. People that own big car companies. It's completely. I mean, I don't agree with it, but I completely get what they're doing. They're like, we can't have this shit. We got the monopoly on this. But with space, it's not like it's not like there was like Saturn V Incorporated. And, you know, we've been running this, we've had this thing going, we've had this dance going on for 50 years, and we're not about to let the Sea Dragon cut into our market. Like, it is completely, like, free market, cutthroat. That's why, I mean, Blue Origin, SpaceX, that's why. And, yeah, just so you know, I don't have an aerospace engineer. I have a biology degree. I don't know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, it's, but those, it's like, okay, that's where you get, like, the, you know, the boosters landing themselves. So with that, like, caveat out, that there's no big rocket, right? I mean, like, you know, like big pharma, like big rocket, big low Earth orbit. I don't know. I mean, not a demand, I guess. We did the moon, and then we were just like, all right, that was that.
Yeah, you know? Pretty much. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess, like, the reason I got so interested in space was because I grew up, like, watching these documentaries about those moon missions and whatnot. And I just, like, it's like gotten in my mind that that's like just the coolest thing that humanity can possibly do. You know,
hands
space
down.
Exploration. It just
hands down.
But you know, it was awesome. I still think it's amazing that we did that. But, you know, at the end of the day, it was mostly like a Cold War stunt. You know, it was to prove that we could beat the Soviets and everything. Yeah. And so I guess that's kind of why it petered out. You know. Did, like, I don't know, what was it, 12 missions, and then it was just like, okay, it's too expensive, and
then it was just
stop doing it.
Yeah, and then it's like, all right, we did the thing, kind of fix it up. Have you ever seen that Werner von Braun, like, helped, or like in conjunction with Disney, which is reality is so weird. It's like he was like boys with like the Disney execs, but they produced like a show or maybe mini series or something, just to kind of spur interest. It started in the 50s. I mean, I guess it worked, but it was about, you know, and you have Werner von Braun, and this is like 10 years after the World War II ended, which is just insane. You have this Nazi in a suit with an American pin on Disney, and it's like, reality is strange. But he's sitting there and he's looking at like the future of he has this like model of this like space station that looks exactly like the one that's on 2001: A Space Odyssey. And he has all these plans for rockets, and it's a thick German accent. He's like, and here you see, he's like, it's a hydrogen and there's nitrogen fault. But he's going through. But one thing they did was they produced like a little animation, and it was about going to the moon. Kind of like the animations you see now about like SpaceX going to Mars, right? You got to have the high tail animation. That's what ropes people in. And they had this one about going to the moon, and the first one was they had just orbit the moon just to get some data, which is accurate, you know, lunar orbiter, but it's manned. Point of this whole stupid spiel is they're going up, and they like shoot these like flares to illuminate the surface of the moon so they can take pictures on the dark side. And they're doing all their measurements, and then you got all your 50s like sound effects, like, and you know they got the knobs and the dials, and they've got big like glass helmets. But one of the things, and mind you, this is produced by Werner von Braun. This is his thing. They're shooting down the flares, poof, takes the picture, and they beep, 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 and and finally they're coming close, and they're on the dark side of the moon, and like the radiation readings start going up, and they're like, you know, like, radiation readings are going up, blah, 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 and they shoot a flare, and then like the dramatic score comes in, it's like, bum, bum, but they're panning over it, and you see both the astronauts looking over the edge like little kids. And it looks like some like Aztec ruins on the far side of the moon. And then they never address it again. The rest of the film goes on. It's like, and then we will have relay stations, and eventually in the future we'll go to Mars. But there's like a very specific, it's not like an accidental frame. There's like a very specific 5-second lead up, 10-second lead up, with 5 seconds of the money shot, the whole score, everything, and it's ancient ruins on the backside of the moon, and then it goes right on. I remember watching that, I was like, what the fuck was that? Like, hold on. And it's like, that wasn't an accident. Like, now what does that mean? I have no idea. I'm not trying to say there are Nazi moon bases, as much as I wish there was, just for the sweet conspiracy of it. But that has nothing to do with the Sea Dragon, but that is something that just popped into my mind I haven't thought about in a while. What the fuck was that? Werner von Braun wasn't stupid. What was that? Why did he slip that in? What's going on? I don't know. I don't know why I'm asking you. Yeah, I don't know why I'm asking you like you have the answer. Like, but Well, Tommy, let me tell you about the time I spent with Mr. Von Braun. But yeah,
that is interesting. That would be a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
I'd assume.
But even the video,
it's either Nazis or aliens, I guess.
Exactly, so. But it's even the video. There's only like 100,000 views. It's not like some 50 million. It's one of those I stumbled upon. I was like, what the fuck was this? But yeah, man. I don't know. It's a weird one, but yeah.
I think I know that video you're talking about. I saw it in that show For All Mankind, actually. Just a clip of it.
The Sea Dragon video?
Or Werner von Braun talking about. Maybe it's the same thing. I don't know, but it sounds like the same thing.
Oh, really?
Where he's talking about like how a moon mission would work.
Oh, really? The only clip I've ever seen from For All Mankind is the Sea Dragon launch. Or I've seen the ones like where they're like walking on the moon. But I guess I don't. So I guess they have a Werner von Braun clip on there.
I enjoyed the first season. Is it good? I guess it kind of depends on your politics because like you watch the show and you can tell that the creator of the show is like a liberal Democrat, you know. And because it's like I don't know, gays become part of the story, illegal immigrants, and just like women's, like the glass ceiling in the workplace and everything. And
God damn it, can't we just have a fucking space show?
I wasn't bothered by most of that because I'm libertarian. Like I'm generally supportive of immigrants. I'm generally supportive of gay rights and everything.
But I want to watch a space show.
It's like but the director or the creator of the show, whoever, they weren't subtle at all about the politics, so it's something you'll notice, when you watch that show. It's like the politics is like right in your face.
Damn it.
But
God damn it.
I wasn't offended by any of it. Really. I enjoyed the show. It's an interesting show. I think I'd recommend it.
You often see that if you like voice that, not even complaint, just observation that you just did. People will be like, "Oh, fragile white guy, are you offended?" I'm like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Some of my best friends are gay. I have on my Ernie's coming back on Monday. He's been on this podcast 4 times. Ernie worked in the Obama administration. He was born in Mexico. Like, he's one of my best friends, though. I'm on the opposite end of him. He comes on here and we shoot the shit. I don't give a fuck. I have my black friend Aaron on here all the time. I don't even know he's black. He's just Aaron. But you mention those things and they're like, "Oh, fragile white guy," and you're like, "No, I just wanted to watch a goddamn Soviets versus Americans. Like, all that stuff's great. I'm completely for it. But just show me, I want to watch, if I'm watching like the Super Bowl, I just want to see the best athletes in the world going at each other's throats. I don't want to see them take a knee. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's not what I want to see. I'm all for it. But it's if I'm watching a false or an alternative history where the Soviets beat us to the moon and then we shoot up a Sea Dragon with a plutonium payload, that's awesome. But you don't need to pan out and show some like blue-haired transsexual. That's great. That's fucking great. But I mean, just give me the goddamn, just give me When I go to Popeyes, I go there for a chicken sandwich. I don't go there for also like the latest update on climate change. I'm all for changing shit, being more smaller CO2 footprint. I'm all for it. But just give me my goddamn chicken sandwich, right? But then again, hey, what a great life I live if those are my problems. How dare they put the gays on the moon show? Fragile white man. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. Yeah. But what a great life we live if that is the that's what we have to deal with. That's what I had to deal with today. I didn't have to wake up and fight a grizzly bear. Right? I didn't have to find clean water. It was For All Mankind. I love it, but you know what I don't like? It's fuck that. Yeah. But I'll probably not watch it just because it just gets shoveled down your throat so much. It's nauseating. You're making people who don't give a shit about it and who are completely open to all that stuff, you're making them start to hate it. Right? Yeah. Like, I don't give you're a badass, cool. My family's Irish immigrants. Granted, it's 100 years removed, still immigrants. But goddamn, if I'm trying to watch a show about the Soviets going to the moon and you're just shoveling it down my throat, eventually I'm going to be like, you know what? Fuck you. Stop showing it. But, do you think... I hope Elon somehow. I don't. Do you think he'll bring about a Sea Dragon type thing, or has the equation been completely changed with reusable boosters that land themselves?
Yeah, that's it's interesting you mentioned that because I guess Starship, their rocket is meant to fulfill a lot of what Sea Dragon was meant to do. Like, I mean, what he's planning to do with that is really, really impressive. I mean, not just like trips to the moon and trips to Mars, but he's talking about like, transforming the whole market of intercontinental flights.
Oh yeah,
sending people to India in 30 minutes. And like. That's amazing.
That's how you know he's a fucking genius. When they were like, how are you going to pay for us to go to Mars? He was like, we take on the FAA. Everyone was like, what? What do you mean the FAA? I think that was a typo. He was like, we take on the FAA. That's how you know that motherfucker's 12 chess moves ahead. We're going to wipe out the airline industry, take all that revenue and get us to Mars. That's why he's a genius. Right?
Yeah, I think that's the right mindset, because a lot of the times the roadblock is government. And just like the regulations we placed on ourselves,
And that's what he said. He's like, that's why I'm amassing wealth. He was like, you don't have to like me for being a billionaire. He's like, everyone hates billionaires. He's like, that's fine. That's your opinion. That's whatever. He's like, I'm amassing wealth because I do not believe whatsoever that humanity is going to come together to fund a mission to Mars, which is our like backup hard drive. That's our external hard drive. He's like, I have no faith that we're going to do it. So I'm just going to stack my bread now. I'm going to make cake. I'm just going to get that. And I'm going to send us to Mars. But it's... Yeah. You ever read Watchmen?
Watchmen, I read it and watched the movie. Yep.
Yeah, that graphic novel's so good. Does Elon Musk not remind you of Veet, however the hell you say it, in that he used his, like... What was the weird invention he patented? He has some... It's been a while since I read it. It's like the electric car charger or something. It's some... It's not even an important part of the story. It's like a tiny little... It's like his origin, but that's how he made his money. And
I'm trying to remember. It's like he had like a perfume company or something.
Yeah, he had that too. Yeah, was it Nostalgia? Nostalgia, was that
Nostalgia?
It?
Yeah, I remember.
But he developed he patented like a pump, like an electron pump, because it was in a alternative history where it was like electric powered cars back then. But that was his. But the point is he did all that. There's no really important part about the pump, but he got the royalties, became the richest man in the world, and used that. Well, now you kind of straight off into the weeds, and used that to create. He used that to create a giant alien, a giant psychic alien to bring the world together. But point being is, he used all that money from a arguably comparatively arbitrary thing to bring about his fixing the world. That's kind of how I look at. I mean, and I'm a shameless Musk fanboy. I fully embrace. I know I'm a fanboy. I know I'm not looking at it soberly or unbiased, but it seems like that's what he's doing, right? Tesla, Neuralink potentially. What is the internet? What's that?
Oh, the Starlink.
Starlink. Yeah.
Yeah. He's putting all sorts. Tons of those.
It seems like he's just building that revenue stream, right?
Yeah.
SpaceX.
Yeah, I never really made a connection between Adrian Veidt and Musk, but it's an interesting observation. Like, I'm I guess you can say I'm an admirer of Musk too, but I guess I'm like jealous of him.
Who isn't?
Not just because of the billions of dollars that he has, but he gets to play with rockets all day. That's like,
you should listen to Space Barons. It's an audiobook about Musk and Bezos. It's basically their origin stories. You should listen to it. He wasn't always Musk, which is obvious. He built his empire, but you really see like the shit he went through to get to where it is today. And it definitely make it appreciate him. But yeah, you're right. He's not a Bill Gates billionaire where it's he made his money and it's sick. Yeah, he stacked his cash, and unlike I think most people today, I don't have a problem with billionaires. I think being a billionaire is awesome. One side tangent. I always fucking see that on Reddit. They're like, billionaires suck, but like everyone always thinks that like, oh, what's the quote? They're just temporarily what's the word? Temporarily disappointed millionaires. That's the problem, is most people think they're temporarily disappointed millionaire and they will make it. But I always see that they're like, people look at billionaires and think like they don't have a problem with them because they're like, it's only a matter of time until I am. Yeah, I have every intention of pushing and molding the world to my will in the best way I can before I die. The idea that you're just gonna put your tail between your legs and I'm never gonna be a billionaire, fuck that fucking defeatist attitude. But hey, that is a rage episode for another time. But
yeah, well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to vilify wealth.
No,
no. I mean, we should be encouraging people to to strive to do their best and make as much money as they can.
Yeah, dude, like go for it. Fuck that defeatist. Imagine if every kid playing football looked at Tom Brady with 6 Super Bowl wins and 9 Super Bowl appearances and was like, he has too many wins. Like, and you know what the problem is? A lot of kids I play football with, they all think that they're just a temporarily held back Tom Brady. Yes, that is the winning attitude. To go, that's awesome. I'm going to be better than him. Right? LeBron James, number 23, same as Michael Jordan, 23. He's like, yeah, I'm going to be better than him one day. And he's fucking, like him or not, he's the best that there is right now. That's how I look at it.
Right.
You don't look at, I mean, Steve Jobs used to fucking turn in soda cans on campus to get money. He used to go get soup at a soup kitchen, right? He fucking, do you think that he looked at Carnegie or Rockefeller and was like, those assholes, everyone just thinks that they're going to be the next one? No, you got to think, dude, what did Steve Jobs say? Those who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are often the ones that do. So, dude, I lost a sibling to suicide in 2014. I have every intention of changing the face of mental health. I want to do it through, I've used psychedelics and they've helped me enormously in my life. Only a handful of times over the last decade. But MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, I mean, they're doing shit with PTSD in soldiers. They're doing shit with depression. Again, another podcast for another time. I want to change the face of that in my lifetime. I'm 30 right now. I don't think I'll be able to make a big enough splash until I'm about 50 or 60. I think right now, start with the podcast is my electron pump. It's a stepping stone to how I want to fix the world the best that I can before I die. But just that you're never going to be that. Jesus Christ, man. Go enjoy your 9 to 5 and your vanilla sex and, try to stand up straight with your limp dick. Like, I hate defeatist attitudes, dude. I'm 30. I live above my parents' garage. All right? Like this. No, you have to have that mindset to get out of this shit. But, end of side rant. Yeah. Vite. I think that's the way to go. I think he's stacking it, just trying a one-man fund to get us to Mars, because I don't think you can rely on anyone, because there's arguably, there's probably not like a profit incentive to go into Mars. Sure, novel information, but you're right. There's no. I've been absolutely word raping you. Please, you can. Sorry, you can talk. You got to butt in. You got to throw some elbows.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, it's I mean, I'm really supportive of what Musk is doing. Like, even though like I said, I'm jealous of him. Getting to play with rockets all day.
Sure.
But I think that really is like the future of like space exploration. It's government got us into space. They got us to the moon.
Yeah.
But I mean, to really take us forward, to take us to the next step, it needs to be like a commercial venture.
Yeah.
I really think like the way, like the next step in expanding into space is I think it might be driven by like space mining, mining
asteroid mining,
asteroids, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's
platinum, helium-3. Yeah.
Like that, and just like space tourism, because it's just the problem with space is just it's really expensive to send stuff up there.
Yeah.
And it's just I really think that like the impetus for going forward might be like just like rich people that want to spend like a week on the moon or something.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, that's how you fund everything. It's like there's like some quote, or I don't even know if it's a quote, but I think there was a guy that someone in my family loosely knew, but it was like late 90s, early 2000s, and like he had like a cell phone, and it was like, why? because he had the money. He could just throw it away to get a $40,000 phone. But I just vividly remember, I was really little, and I remember hearing someone say, he's just paying, instead of paving the way, he's paying the way for the rest of us. That money is what turns that into an affordable thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cue all the communists. No, it's only to the 1%. Okay, cool, man. Go wipe the sweat off your man tits. But you're right, it is. It's kind of like funding it through the FAA. I know Bezos in Space Barons, the author eventually kind of differentiates between the two towards the end, and he's like, ultimately they have two different goals. Musk is all about let's go to space, or let's go to Mars. Let's go to Mars, off-world, external hard drive. Bezos his thing is he wants to move basically all the gross kind of manufacturing and like heavy industry that we outsource to rural areas. Primarily, though, we outsource to third world nations, right? Just dump all the shit in their river. Who cares? What Bezos wants to do is he wants to take that, and he's like, why? Just like in America, you have a nice like suburban neighborhood. You don't have like cobalt mining. What do? We throw it to a third world nation. Just like, fuck it, that place is already disgusting. That's a sad reality. But he was like, why don't we treat the whole world like our nice suburban neighborhood, and why don't we push all that shit into orbit? You can get it out of sight to the point where it's just like a twinkle in the night sky. But you could have plants up there manufacturing cars, all your Chinese knickknacks. It could, mining asteroids, heavy shit where, you don't need to worry about CO2 emissions. If you're just spewing it into interplanetary space, who gives a fuck how dirty the process is? Throw it out there. Who cares? It's going to just orbit forever. Just gases, toxic byproducts, sulfuric acid, hydrazine. Just, who cares? Let it go. Lead, uranium, just who cares? Just put a little nudge on it and just throw it forever. There's no other forces. That's his look is, let's take all of it and just put it in space, which I think is actually really like. I used to, being a complete fucking hypocrite, I used to hate on Bezos because I was like, he's just a rich guy, as I'm just a total fucking hypocrite. But that's kind of his thing, is push it all into space. It's kind of like Patrick Star from SpongeBob. Let's take all of our problems and just push it over there. But that's what he's doing. And it's kind of a good two-pronged attack. One way, let's kind of save the planet by pushing all heavy industry into space, and then Musk is let's save the planet by putting a backup hard drive on Mars. It's a great two-pronged attack, infinitely more efficient than any government program could ever be, right?
Yeah. I haven't paid too much attention to Blue Origin, or like what they're doing. I guess I know about their New Glenn rocket, and they're planning to like send people up just like into space for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Like you just go up there and then the rocket starts firing, and then you're basically in free fall for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And you're awesome. And,
yeah.
or maybe they'll actually be the first ones to really get space tourism going, just because they're keeping it simple like that.
Yeah.
I read a book about space mining. It's I don't know. It's trying to remember everything I read, but it's just it is a big challenge, to do that, obviously. But like just sending stuff into space is so expensive that it makes me wonder, like, when will we get to the point where it'll be profitable?
Yeah.
I've heard of like there's this asteroid named Psyche, and it's got this ridiculous amount of gold. And if we were to go to Psyche and mine all the gold from that thing, it would basically, I don't know, there's like more gold in that asteroid than we've ever discovered before on Earth. And so it would make the price of gold plummet. Everybody could walk around wearing gold necklaces and gold shirts. And but it's so it might get to that point eventually. It's just I guess it's just a big challenge, obviously, to make mining equipment that works in space. I read about like a mission to mine helium-3
from the moon,
and like that could make fusion easier. And it's that, and then like you said, like continuing the human race on Mars, like Musk wants to do. that's I wonder about that sometimes, because like one problem with Mars is that the gravity is lower than what our bodies are accustomed to, you know. And like I wonder, like, can the human body adjust to that? Like it's like, you know, you hear about the problems of zero gravity.
Mm-hmm.
That just like wreaks havoc on the human body. Like this one astronaut came back from space after being there for like a year or something like that. He got back down into the gravity well, and like his legs just like swelled up like crazy. He said like he couldn't even feel the leg bone anymore, because like all this liquid that was just like suspended, like, you know, started being pulled down again and caused all sorts of problems. And like I wonder if, like, is the Mars gravity strong enough to avoid that problem? Or, you know, I'd imagine there'd be some problems of living in that low gravity environment, at least until our bodies can adapt to it. But anyway, I don't know what point I'm trying to make, but it's you know, space mining is hard, living on Mars is hard, but it's I like what Musk and Bezos are going for. You know, I like that they're making the effort and they're putting their own resources into it, because I think that's you know, ultimately that'll be what drives us forward into space, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you say you don't know what point you're making. There's never any point to make on this podcast. People often say that. They're like, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm like, there's nowhere to go. There's no right or wrong way to do it, man. The podcast starts, the podcast ends. Whatever happens. It's that's definitely a problem to address. But I tend to look at it more, again, not a rocket scientist nor a billionaire entrepreneur, but I tend to look at it as like, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Like, let's first go to Mars, and then we'll worry about long term. Like, let's not worry about gold, the price of gold crashing. Let's first worry about building mining equipment that can land on a comet, right?
Yeah. I want to see it happen first, you know.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see the moon landing, so I want to see us land on Mars at some point.
I think we will. I think we'll see that before we die. It's but
hard to know when. But
no, I have no idea. I mean, life is getting so crazy that like part of me thinks there's like an equal chance of us seeing it in in this decade, is that there's an equal chance of us seeing it in like 2069. I have no idea. All bets are off. I don't know anymore. But yeah, something like gold, like, yeah, you have some people are like, that's going to crash like the precious metal market. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, there's gold in like historical sense. Like, we use gold to back our current, or used to. But we can go down that's a whole nother podcast. But it's like, what the real importance is not like the, you know, you put it around your neck and you're a pharaoh. It's like, dude, it's in all of our electronics. That's the value of gold. Fuck the whole gold bars, gold pharaoh. No, like it's I mean, it's in everything. Like, that's its importance. And I think it's just more raw materials. Now, it seems like, okay, let's run with this thought. It seems like the move would be, because if they find an asteroid with all that shit on it, free market will do its thing. It will find a way for that to be profitable. We don't send oil rigs out in the middle of the ocean in 25,000 feet of water, which send a steel straw down, which then go another mile under the earth while snaking. You don't do that as like let's see what happens. No, ExxonMobil looked at it and they're like, we can make more money than we spent. Let's do. That's the only way you get that insane shit, right?
Yeah.
I think someone will find a way. It'll be like, that's ridiculous, and someone will be like, well, there is 40 million tons of platinum, and I'll be like, okay, like, let's see what we can do. Like, let's call GE, let's call Exxon, let's call fucking whoever, Boston Dynamics. How are we gonna do this? It will find a way. That is the free market. It will find a way. If there is fucking buku bucks to be made, if there's the promise of 1,000-foot yacht, it'll get done. It'll get done. But yeah, it's the move to take that and put a thruster on it and crash it into the moon or Mars. Because now you're just negating the need to bring all that from the Earth. What if you could find asteroids of shit you want, and then it's already up there, it's out of the gravity well. right?
Mm-hmm.
There's your biggest cost. If you could just push 100 million tons of gold, just push that to Mars. Well, there's 100 million tons of mass that you don't have to bring from the surface of the Earth out of the gravity well. Maybe that's the move. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the impression that I get of it. Not being an expert once again myself, but it's like the advantage of space mining is that you don't have to launch it from the gravity well of Earth. And so, like, if you're talking about like any kind of colony on the Moon, colony on Mars, or anything like that, you can. It's just a lot cheaper to get it from space, because launching it from Earth is just so energy intensive, so expensive that it just being able to manufacture it or get it in space is a huge advantage. And maybe gold is like an exception to that, because gold is so valuable that maybe it would be advantageous to actually send it back to Earth. But yeah, that's the impression I got from reading about it, at least, is that it's the really big advantage of space mining is to help us expand into space.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously the benefits of preserving humanity by sending us to Mars and everything like that. And I love to think about these things.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make it cheaper to get into space? And I guess that's kind of why I became interested in Sea Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I read about that, and it just seems like such an ingenious idea.
Yeah, so simple. So
yeah,
I mean,
you just solve some of the problems with launching stuff in such an elegant way.
Yeah,
I just wonder why we didn't do it before. I guess there's reasons for that.
I think we'll see it come back if there is like a market drive for it. If it's like, let's get like manufacturing equipment into space, it might be we just need a big dumb rocket just to get it up, like just fucking launch it. Just it seems more and more like the way to go is to not bring all the materials we need, but just bring the components for machinery that can refine it out of what's already there. It's like, you're going camping on the other side of the country, do you bring 1,000 gallons of water with you that you'll need for the next year? Or do you bring like a bucket, or like a metal bucket, and like a couple gallons of like acetylene fuel to boil the water, and then you just go get all the water there? You cut your actual thing you got to carry down like 990 or 99.9%, and that's especially more important when you're not going horizontal, but you're going out of the gravity well, right? You got to get that puppy up to Mach 23. Seems like the way to move is to just bring you bring your metaphorical water purifier to Mars. You don't bring a Sea Dragon full of water, you bring a purifier, and then you go to the lake there. Obviously an analogy, but it seems like that's the move. I think 3D printing is going to be the other thing, because if you think about that, think about like the density. Like instead of like the ISS constructed in space, because we couldn't launch all that in one thing. Just we didn't have the raw lifting capabilities, and two, this thing is so big and it's fragile, right? If it's not in microgravity, the way to go seems like, it's not fragile, just a big like 50 by 50 by 50, like a 50 cubic foot block of just plastic. That is, you don't need to worry about vibrations, you don't need to worry about anything, you just fucking throw that on a Sea Dragon and just fire it up.
Yeah.
If it gets up there, and if it crashes and blows up, all right, you lost a big block of plastic. Not a whole lot. And then you send up a rocket with the 3D printers, the very valuable equipment. You go up there, and now you've got this big block of, you could almost say, printer ink, and you send up the very valuable fragile piece on a much more refined rocket. You can go up there, and then you can, feed it in, and it's obviously greatly simplified, but you could create a whole space station or a massive rocket to go from Earth to Mars without having to launch it up. That's one thing I always think about. It's like, you can really hedge your bet by separating them into the component pieces. Important printer, big dumb block of shit. Throw it up. If it crashes, whatever, send another. If it gets up there, it's like, okay, now it made it up. Now let's send up the printer.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I've heard about the importance of being able to like 3D print stuff in space. And there's actually I know there's like a company in California that's working on 3D printing like rocket components actually. Like the entire rocket 3D printed. And I'm forgetting the name of the company, but it's that's a really big deal for space travel. And like you touched on this, like what Sea Dragon would afford you, like you wouldn't have to have like these really light, delicate satellites anymore. You know, I mean that thing can lift, like Ken said, like 1,000 fucking tons up to low Earth orbit. Yeah, like there's no need to. You could build the whole thing out of steel and like
doesn't matter. Just light that fucker.
You don't really have to care about the size of the weight anymore.
No, it's just light that fucker. Let it go. Yeah.
I was I was actually thinking about like referring you to this guy. His name is Emery Stagmer. He worked for NASA. He was the lead software engineer of NASA's LCROSS program, which is like I don't know a lot about it, but it was for like mapping the surface of the moon or something like that. And he made a couple of videos about Sea Dragon that got me interested in it actually. And he was talking about like some of the same stuff that you were talking about. It's like the way that Sea Dragon would let you could loft any big heavy piece of junk into space with that thing, and like you wouldn't have to worry about making it state of the art. Just like all the latest bells and whistles to make it work. You could just like launch some primitive big heavy satellite into space, and that's the kind of thing that Sea Dragon would afford you. Or a rocket like Sea Dragon.
Sea Dragon's a lot like a train, right?
Yeah.
You got something like a temperature, a temperature sensitive pharmaceutical, right? You got to put it in dry ice. It's got to be packed. It goes on a special truck that's like armored and locked because it's like $1,500 a dose. It's got everything is logistics or fucking make your head spin.
Yeah.
But what about like iron ore? Just fucking bring the train along, just dump it in, just get it on, fuck it, choo choo, get that motherfucker going. People hop on trains and just there are hobos on there. It doesn't fucking matter. You're not going to damage the ore, and if you can, the amount of ore you're going to damage is probably going to accumulate to $1. Like, knock yourself out. You got these big fuckers, and then you just let them go. Once you get them going, they just don't stop. Just fucking go. Just don't get in front of it. It'll kill you. It's kind of, Sea Dragon kind of seems like a train almost, right? You don't put like the silicon wafers on there. You don't put the pharmaceutical on there. You just put the coal like fresh out of the ground. Right?
I think that might have been a point that Ken made actually in the podcast you did with him. Like, if you need to haul more stuff, you don't normally think of like, I need a truck with better performance or something. It's like I need a bigger truck, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's what Sea Dragon is.
Yeah.
So like, it's why go state of the art when you don't have to really?
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of why I'm so interested in it. Ken's probably going to shoot down these ideas, but like I still fantasize about building a rocket like Sea Dragon.
Ken will massacre our ideas. He will. But it's not out of like cynicism. He's just a fucking he's a rocket scientist. He says he's not. He's a fucking rocket scientist. So when I'm like, Ken, I got an idea. He's like, no, that won't work. But it's not like, it's not like fuck your idea. He's just pointing out like the physics of it, why it won't work. But he's a literal rocket scientist. And you and I don't even have like bachelors in this. So, but Ken's a saint. He's patient. He's a
wonderful guy. I noticed that.
He's such a sweetheart. Such a sweetheart. I love Ken. Shout out Ken. Well, he'll be on next Wednesday. Why? I was like, I missed you, Ken. He'll be right back. I have a friend that's named Warren H. Peter, who's been on here a couple times, but he is a rocket scientist. He says he's not. He's got a degree from Georgia Tech. He did an internship at JPL and NASA, and he turned down all those lucrative jobs, and he is building MemeSat, which is, do you know what a CubeSat is?
Yeah.
Little tiny fuckers. He's building one called MemeSat, MEME. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It just beams back memes. That's all it's gonna do. And he's already secured like $20,000 in funding and grants. Like, he's a psycho. He's a complete psycho. He and I talk like every other day. Like, because I got into med school and I turned down that to do whatever I want. Now it's this. My buddy Aaron went to med school and dropped out after a year to build telekinetic robots. Warren could have any defense contracting job he wanted, but instead he's in his parents' basement trying to build MemeSat. So us three kind of like talk to each other to just like stay sane, or at least to maybe dilute our own insanity. Because anyone else my age, all my friends, they're married, they're doctors, they're lawyers, they're accountants, they got kids, a nice house in the suburbs. And it's like, here I am, like, yelling about transsexuals on For All Mankind, just freak Werner von Braun with like fucking Inca ruins on the far side of the moon above my parents' garage. So us three talk to each other, and it's just like, man, I'm going insane, and we try to just like psych each other up to stay sane. Point being, so Warren's an equally unstable psychopath like myself, and but he's building MemeSat, and I don't know where I was going with this. Yeah, he and I started talking one episode about how fast could you get a satellite going, because we're talking about MemeSat, where there is no, this isn't Bezos, this isn't Musk, there's no profit margin for MemeSat. This thing is beaming back images of Pepe. There's nothing, this is going up like for the lulz.
Yeah, and I saw that episode.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And we started talking about you saw the one I'm talking about right now?
Yeah, like the follow-up episode with Ken.
Okay, yeah.
2 episodes with Ken,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. We're talking about how fast could we get a satellite going. And Warren and I were shooting the shit, and we eventually devised a multi-stage xenon ion thruster. And I talked to Ken about that. And I was like, well, what if and Ken, like, very, like, not, it wasn't personal, but he was like, no, that's just generally a stupid idea. And I was like,
I remember that.
I was like, okay. I was like, but what if we get it going really fast, and maybe we can no, physics are the same. I was like, all right. And that was Ken. It wasn't personal. It wasn't cynical. It was just, that's stupid. Yeah. But, yeah, man. If I ever become, when I become a billionaire, I think it'll probably take me like 2.5, 3 decades. Come back to this podcast. Probably, I think around 2050, I'll be able to do it. I'll be 60. I want to change mental health, but one thing I do want to do, it's my own ego. It's the equivalent of like a pharaoh, immortalizing themselves as a god, or like an author, like Faust or something. Like you become eternal through your writings. I want to send the fastest traveling man-made object by the time I die. It will be surpassed in the days or millennia after I die, but by the time I die, I want the fastest moving man-made object, other than light or particle accelerators. Fastest moving object that we have thrown into space, right? That doesn't include like exhaust from rockets. Fuck that. That doesn't count. Yeah. My own MemeSat. I want to see how fast that thing can get going. I would dump like $1 billion into it, just because. Put like a middle finger on it so I can zip past Voyager 2.
Yeah, that I like the way you think. I think I've thought of the same type of thing. I think Ken threw cold water on that by saying you could only get it up to like 0.1% of light speed or something. I think that would be really cool nonetheless. Like I don't know how fast you could get like a xenon ion multi-stage rocket going, but
who cares?
Like
just do it.
To say
do it.
Like just send it out there. Like send it past Voyager and everything. Like, and I'm fascinated by that shit. Like interstellar travel. Like
to me,
Sea Dragon is awesome, but like interstellar travel is like ultimately where we want to get.
Yeah.
Right.
And
it just feels like so. If we can't leave our own solar system, it just seems like so depressing.
I don't think
so much out there.
I don't think we'll see that. I think we'll see Mars in our lifetimes. If granted let's say we live to 60, I think we'll see Mars by 2050. I do. Interstellar, I think that is way out there. I think looking at Mars is the equivalent of like right now we're at the Wright Flyer and we're like, it's 1902 and we're like, do you think we'll see us go to the moon? And we look at the exponential curve and we're like, maybe. I mean, if you live for another 67 years, maybe. I think where we're looking at interstellar travel, I think right now we're not at 1902. I think we're at 1802. And it's, do you think we'll get to the moon and it's in time? I think there's 0% chance we'll see it. I don't think we'll see it. But I think you got to start with, I mean, you start with Sputnik. You start with a fucking glorified garbage can that was just beeping, right? That's all it was. And now look where we are. So to me, you got to start somewhere. And I just think it would be funny to just get like a tiny little CubeSat just cooking. Just fucking really just put some spice on it. And yeah, everyone should, including Ken, people on Reddit in not so loving way, was just like, what do you mean? Like, you're going to discover a new physics at a greater speed? That's not what I meant, all right? I'm an idiot, but I do have a biology degree. I did take physics. I aced all of it. I aced chemistry, organic chemistry. The one common theme I saw in everything was the biggest discoveries were not discoveries that were planned. There are discoveries a lot, where something like COVID, it's like, let's find the COVID vaccine. We're setting out on a specific thing. But the biggest shit always happens by accident, right? Creating Viagra as I think a heart medication because it dilates the veins. And they did all the tests, and, you know, the responses were, it didn't really help, like, my chest pains, but god damn, you know, me and my wife made love for the first time in 10 years. Now you have Viagra, right? It always happens by accident. That's what, or yeah, the microwave, the scientist working with microwaves, the actual wave, noticed that the chocolate bar in his pocket melted, but it didn't feel hot. Microwaves. So I look at it as, like, I'm very, like, so the idea that we're going to look at something and we're going to say this is where the next discovery lies, that's never been the case in human history. Well, I take that back. There are, but those are very small steps. They're refining. We have a direct target we're looking for. COVID vaccine. Fucking heavier than air flight, right? But a lot of shit, we just kind of open it up like a jack-in-the-box by accident. And so they're all by accident. So the very notion that you could shoot down any idea as that's not where it's going to be, to me, that is faulty in the nature of itself. Because if you can say that's not where the big next discovery lies, well, if you can do that with one, you can do that with another idea and another idea, till eventually you could theoretically shoot down every potential thing as that's not where the next discovery lies. And thus, by an inverse property, you have now deduced everything but where the next big discovery lies. So how come you haven't discovered the next big thing? It's because that's not how it works. So the idea that you could shoot down anything, I mean anything, even let's microwave tomatoes and then throw them in a vat of boiled pennies. I mean, stupid, retarded. You never know. You don't know if that's going to create some weird cyanatic enzyme and that's how we cure plaque. You don't have to brush your teeth anymore. You just put this paste on one time. But that's how this shit happens. Now, are you going to fund putting a bunch of microwaved tomatoes in boiled pennies? Probably not. You'd have to have a moron, this guy, who somehow acquired billions of dollars and did his own thing. So that's how I look at it, is like, have we got anything going that fast yet? My idea, Sonic Sat. No. Maybe something will happen if it does start going that fast. Well, we already know the properties of... Well, everything we're saying we know the properties of, that won't be the thing that's discovered. You don't look at a lottery ticket and go, that's not the winning ticket. You don't know. You got to spend the dollar. Now, who wants to spend the dollar? I'm looking at, like, let's send Sonic Set. Let's say nothing happens. It's still cooking at 50,000 miles an hour. Hell, put a gold plate on it. No different than Voyager. Cool. Humanity was here. Maybe something happens. Maybe it starts going... I don't know, maybe it hits 1% the speed of light. Maybe 0.1, 0.01. Maybe some weird relativistic thing happens. I don't know, maybe there's some weird distortion in the radio transponder. Maybe it has it detects neutrinos in a different way. I'm not saying it'll be groundbreaking, but the idea that there is a thing that we have not done, gone X miles an hour, and the idea that we're going to unanimously say nothing of novelty will happen at that point. Nothing of novelty will happen if you sail towards the edge. You're just going to go into the ocean until you fall off the planet, dipshit. And then you find out the planet's a sphere, and everything is thrown out the window. That's how this shit happens. Sorry for that rant, but Sonic Sat is close to my heart.
Oh no, I like that point you're making, because just discovering things by accident. I mean, I was thinking about maybe it was like the pasteurization of milk, or the discovery of penicillin.
Yeah.
I think one of those happened completely by accident.
Yeah.
Might be getting that a little wrong, but and really it doesn't even really matter if someone tells you, there's no point to sending a little space probe as fast as you can in one direction. Like, if it's something that you want to do, and you have the resources to do it, why not do it?
Yeah.
There's a good chance you might discover something that nobody knew before. So,
and you still discover something.
It's up to you,
Yeah, you still discover something regardless. Because even if it discovers nothing, well, now you cross that one, you check that one off the list. All right, nothing happens if you shoot a piece of metal at 1% the speed of light. Noted. That's a discovery. Fuck you. But I mean, that lays the groundwork. That's not the right flyer in comparison to the Saturn V. That's like a kite in comparison. But it is. What's the very first step? The very first step is, let's not worry about microgravity on Mars. First, let's get to Mars, right? Let's not worry about crashing the price of gold. First, let's build a factory on a meteor or an asteroid, whatever. Let's not worry about generational ships and relativity and all that shit until we can get something outside the solar system, which we have, Voyager 2. It's one past the heliosphere or helioshock. Okay, cool. What's the next step? Send another. Right? Now let's try to get to the heliosphere or the helioshock of the next star. We left ours. The next step is if you leave your island, you went off the shore, the next step is let's try to go to another island. At the very least, let's just try to go to another one. How do you do that? Get something cooking. All those things, all those like Michio Kaku, like all those theoretical ideas of in the future we'll use solar sails. Well, let's at very least, let's start. Let's just start, How are we going to grow shit on Mars? Well, we start by doing hydroponics in space. Granted, it's like with a single seed at a time. But I mean, that's how you go from IBM punch cards and vacuum tubes to 256 gigabytes on an old phone, right? That's what I think. Send it. There's nothing bad can come from it. Yeah. Right?
I mean, if you got the resources to do it, who can really criticize you for doing it,
Yeah, I'm not saying spend taxpayer money on it. No. Yeah. I'm not trying to pitch it to a board.
That might be a different story.
Yeah, no, that is a waste. Yeah, I'm not trying to pitch it to a board of directors or shareholders. If I can, we'll get it out of the plane of the solar system and just pick a direction and it's like you're standing on top of a mountain at night. You just pick up a rock and throw it. You ever throw like a rock off something really high up or in a well why'd you do it? Why not? Did it hit anything? It hit something. It hit something in 1 second. Oh, it's not that deep. It took 10 seconds. Oh, this is really deep. Is there any value to that? Not really, but it's novel information. I now know that this is a deep well. Maybe that doesn't lead to anything, but to me, I look at it and I'm like, we're standing on the edge of a cliff and there's shit way out there. What do kids do? Kids throw rocks at windows. Why? See if they break. Why? Fuck, why not? Because we're organisms that are just pushing entropy forward. I don't know. So I'll look at it as we're standing on the Earth. It's a cliff. And it's just a lot of us are trying to throw balls at specific places, softballs at specific places, Mars, the moon. I'm I just want to find some Mark McGuire motherfucker and just toss him a softball and just be like, hey, just try to just light that motherfucker. Line drive. There's no foul poles. You can just hit it anywhere. Just why? Why not? And that's not a stupid idea because what exists? There's the home run derby, right? At the All-Star game. We have that every year. Why? Let's just see how hard you can hit it. Why? Because we're fucking apes. Why not? We're eating popcorn. Who gives a fuck? Why does it matter? Why do I need a 4K TV to game on instead of an N64? Because fuck you, that's why. So yeah, Sonic Sat, what is it? It's a line drive by Mark McGuire. Why? Why not?
Yeah, well, that was the whole attitude behind sending us to the moon, anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
You remember John F. Kennedy's speech? Is
not because they're easy, but because they are hard.
Hard, not because it's easy. We want to climb Mount Everest because it's there.
Yeah, yeah.
There doesn't have to be a reason.
Why do you go to the Marianas Trench?
Uh-huh.
Why did we send Voyager? What actual bottom line were we looking at? So maybe we're going to make contact with the Greys, and we're thinking that they might want to open up a trade line, and that could really help our. No, it was like, let's make a gold plate with some data on it, and do what? Toss it out there. Why? Why not? And everyone loves it. Why not? Mm-hmm. Why not?
Because it's cool.
Yeah. Is it sending back really vital data? It's sending back novel data about the helioshock heliosphere. Is that going to help us get to Mars? Nah. Is that going to cure COVID? Nah. But it's interesting. Yeah. So, yeah. Throw sonics at 1% the speed of light. Why?
Yeah.
Why not?
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I think there is a great reason for it, just exploring the universe.
Yeah.
Like, just the fact that there's a species that exists that can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we should embrace that. We should.
Why not?
Like, we got to take care of things like, diseases and, food and all the basic things that we need to take care of. But, if we can do all that stuff, then once that's taken care of, then, why not? Why shouldn't we explore the universe? This is about the preservation of humanity.
Yeah.
We're not always going to be able to live in the solar system.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I read something somewhere that I guess we got like maybe 1 billion years left before the sun becomes too hot for
we got
life on Earth. So
we got time.
We'll need to figure something out.
We got time. It's yeah. I mean, if I can make $10 billion, or I can go Bezos and make $100 billion, I'm gonna put $99 billion towards mental health because that has greatly affected my personal life. But I'm gonna take $1 billion, and I'm gonna get Mark McGuire to hit a line drive. Why? Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Just do it. Why are we sending rovers to Mars? They're just picking up dirt, but it's dirt on Mars, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Why did James Cameron go to the Mariana Trench? Because it's the Mariana Trench. That's if we have this mindset, we're going full circle. This is the same mindset of people that are like, "Oh, you just the next billionaire." Yeah, because that genetic line of those thinkers of why send out SonicSat, why be a billionaire. That's the genetic line of people that died in the caves, because why leave the caves? It's safe in here. The dipshits were like, hey, let's go out there and see if we can kill that tiger. Why would we want to kill that tiger? It's probably going to kill us, but if we kill it, it's got a lot of meat on it.
Yeah.
We could wear that. We could wear that coat. We could use those teeth as sharp things. Why? What are you going to do with sharp things? I don't know. We'll carve shit. Like what? I don't know. We'll invent language. We'll call it cuneiform. Cuneiform, sure, nothing. But if that was not the first domino in a 10,000-year domino stack that led to the iPhone 12, that's what it is. So it's the idea that we're ever going to shit on curiosity is. But you know what? I think it's almost good that everyone shit on it, because I don't think there's ever been a great idea that it didn't receive that universal response. Fuck you, you moron! You can't do that. Right?
Like, did everyone shit on one idea?
I don't think there's ever been a truly like bold, brilliant. I mean, you've seen that interview with Musk, right? Where it's they're telling him that like Buzz Aldrin and a couple other Apollo astronauts were like they don't like the idea of like private space flight, and like Musk starts to tear up. Good. It's one thing if all your peers shit on you, but like not the people you really look up to. Look what happened when even people he looked up to shit on him. He starts tearing up, and then the interviewer says, did you ever think you're going to pack this in? And he said, never. And he said, why? And he said, because I never give up. And
I never heard of that. That's interesting.
I'll send that to you. I'll send it to you right now.
Yeah, I guess I can picture why like Buzz Aldrin would be opposed to that, because I mean it was, I guess, a lot of those Apollo astronauts probably have the mindset that, government needs to be the ones. Yeah. Needs to be the one that does this.
Which I get. I mean, that's
interesting. I never heard that. I never heard about Elon Musk. Tearing up because of that.
I just sent it. I can't play it because I don't want to get yanked from YouTube, because it is. I mean, that looks like a famous interviewer, right? That looks like someone you'd see on the news. It's on 60 Minutes. Okay, yeah, I just texted it to you. But it's someone put it over Gangster's Paradise, and it's like all of these things leading up to it. And then he's like, I never give up. And then it just there's like a montage of like rockets landing themselves and like Dragon docking and him just like exhaling a joint on Joe Rogan. And it's like, that's why. I have it saved on my phone because I watched that and I'm like, That's why. That's what makes you like a real gangsta. Isn't because you did something that everyone else wanted you to do or agreed upon. It's because you did something that everyone else said couldn't and shouldn't be done. Now, granted, sometimes that criticism is justified. Like Edward Teller wanted to build a 10,000 megaton nuclear weapon called the backyard bomb, named as such because you could light it off in your own backyard and kill someone on the other side of the planet. You know what? That's an idea that you know what? You probably shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
But if you're not harming anyone else, if you're sending out SonicSat, or if you want to burn your billions on self-landing rockets, go for it. Who cares? That's how you become an OG. Is you go and do it when everyone else said fuck off, right?
Yeah. That's the idea of sending something like as fast as you can. It's I've brainstormed about this a lot. You know, it's I don't know. The impression I get is like I don't know. Ken was probably right. I don't know the math of it. You know, maybe like the fastest that you could get that going would be like 0.1% of the speed of light, which I'm just trying to do the math in my head. Like the closest star to us aside from the sun is Alpha Centauri. That's
4.3.
Like a little over 4 light years away. So you get it going like 0.1% the speed of light. I guess that would
that would take.
Let's see, 1 light year is going to be.
That'd be what, 4,000 years?
Yeah, something like that. A long time. Yeah, I guess 1,000 years to go 1 light year. I might be way off.
I think that's right. Because if it was 1%, then you just multiply by 100. So multiply by 1,000. 4.3 times 1,000. It'd be 4,000.
It would get us faster. It would get us there faster than anything else we've sent for sure, which is still cool. But I guess the impression that I've gotten from reading about it, at least, is that like you've heard about like the tyranny of the rocket equation, something like that. Just like the whole burden of like having to carry the fuel with you. Because the fuel itself weighs something, and then you got to have more fuel to propel the fuel, and then you get.
That's where the xenon ion thruster comes in.
That's the impression I get is that like for interstellar travel to do it in like a human lifetime, like you almost have to, like you just can't carry the fuel with you. No, there almost has to be some kind of beam powered propulsion.
There's another
some kind of beam pushing the craft.
There's another
and
paradigm.
Then of course. Yeah, like then you get into the whole problem of like how do you slow it down when you get to the other side?
Again, cross that bridge when you get there, right? Yeah. Maybe not with that. That's bad. It's a bad analogy, but
I think it's a good analogy because I'd be more than happy to send like something at like 10% light speed through another star system
just to get a picture. Wheel. Why? Because it's a fucking Hot Wheel. But that's the other thing I bring up with SonicSat. Let's wrap this bitch up in like 5 minutes. But it's that's the other thing I get is that was another stipulation of SonicSat is there's no goal, because that's the thing. That's a common criticism that would come up with it would be like, it's still going to take 10,000 years to get to Alpha Centauri. Who the fuck said we're going to Alpha Centauri? Like that's your own limit, right? It's like it's like the criticism of UFOs. People are like, those can't be aliens. They couldn't get here. I mean, intelligent people are like, I never said they're aliens. I'm just saying there's a physical phenomenon in the sky and there are radar readings on it. You're the one that said it was aliens. So people are like, it's going to take 100 human lifetimes. I'm like, it's like this podcast. There's no destination. It's just, we didn't hit the finish line on this podcast. We did it, Nick. It doesn't fucking matter. So with SonicSat, we're going somewhere. There's not even a goal to attain, let alone a time frame to do it in. You have to remove all those constraints. There's no profit. There's no destination. There is no specific experiment. It is Mark McGuire tossing up a softball and just cranking it with a corked bat. Why? Why not? Baseball stadium? No. Edge of the Grand Canyon. Why? Why not? You're never going to hit the target. There's no target. We're never going to find it. You don't have to find it. Why are you doing it? Because I fucking am paying this guy to hit the ball far and fast. Why? Because it's fun.
Yeah, it's my money, bitches.
Yeah, exactly. Why does everyone love the SR-71 Blackbird? Because it was fast, right? Why is how come there's still videos on YouTube every couple months of the new fastest street legal car, Bugatti Chiron? Why is there 100 million views on it? It's just a car going fast. Because it's a car going fast. Why are we still obsessed with the Concorde? Because you went fast. That's all it is. We're little kids going, I want to go fast. Hypersonics. Well, no, there's a lot of weapon systems there. But the point being, you know, why do we need a faster internet? Why do we need 5G? Because now it's faster. Why? Fuck you. That's why. It's just why. It's never going to reach Proxima Centauri or Betelgeuse. Okay. Thanks for your input. We're not going there. Where are you going? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, even without sending it to another star, you know, there's the idea that you talk about, like this multi-stage xenon ion engines. You know, if you can at least get it going up to a speed where, you know, it goes, where if we could get it out to, I've read about this idea of like, I think you would have to send this the space probe out to, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like maybe 100 astronomical units, like, you know, way outer solar system. And like this idea is that you like you've heard of gravitational lensing, right? Like just ability to magnify something with the gravity of an object. If you can send out something to like 100 astronomical units or whatever that's supposed to be, then you could use the gravity of the sun to image
farther than
exoplanets potentially.
Yeah.
And I don't know how powerful that would be, but it like from what I've read, it would be way more powerful than any telescope that we could ever develop.
Yeah.
You know, on Earth. And you know, you could potentially, I don't know, you could potentially see signs of life on Earth-sized exoplanets around other stars, which would be incredible. And, you know, that's something that you could do without having to worry, you know, sending it to Alpha Centauri. You know, that's cross that bridge when we get there.
Exactly.
But like, if this thing that you're talking about could get us out to, you know, just like I said, like 100 astronomical units and do that, then that would be revolutionary.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
yeah.
That's set on like a certain goal of like, you know, getting to another star or something. You know, that can come another day. But like,
and even, you know, and why do we need to use this? I've heard that, the gravitational lensing of the sun. Why do we need to see more exoplanets? We've already seen, I don't know. Well, that's all it's going to be, is just images, or so what we think. How do we not know that we go back and look at the gravitational lensing and there's just some phenomena that we have never in a million years guessed of, right? It's the equivalent of like microwaves or germ theory. There's like, I don't even know, maybe there's like a blue halo of fucking backwards traveling particle. I don't know. But we'd be like, oh, goddamn, that's cooler than anything we've ever seen at CERN. How did we not know to do this earlier? Because you don't know this shit. It's when stuff... So my selling point for SonicSat to my non-existent board of directors is the biggest mistakes or the biggest inventions and discoveries of all time come by accident. So how do you go and find an accident that no one's ever found before? You just have to go make it. It's like you step on mines by walking through a minefield. Well, how do you find a mine that's never gone off before? You go to a minefield that's never been touched before and then just start walking around. So how do you make an accidental discovery that hasn't been made before? You go somewhere that no one's gone to before. Faster and farther than anyone else. 1% the speed of light, and you're 4 light years away. You're gonna, whatever accident you make out there will be a first for humanity. You're making a first time accident, right? You just have to make.
You gotta go there.
Yeah, you have to make the first accident, right? The second a video game comes out, someone beats it. They are the first person that beat it. It's just that's the only way you can ever be first. Doesn't mean that we're not going to come back and a million more people are going to pass them in like the global ranks. But at some point, you're going to be. That's where you make the accident, right? It's you got to put a chocolate bar in your pocket and work at a lab, and all of a sudden it starts melting. Microwaves, right? And again, and you have to be completely open to the fact that it might not happen. There might not be something to find. But if you're gonna if you got to go make an accident, you got to go trip or step on a landmine somewhere to ensure that it's novel. If it does happen, just go somewhere that we haven't done. So let's go out there and then just see what happens. I don't know. Maybe there's like a distortion. Maybe there's nothing. Who cares? Who fucking cares? That's what lays the sticks, or I don't know what the fuck that sticks. Lays the first path. Fuck it, Sonic said. It doesn't need a justification. It doesn't need anything. But yeah, man, that was a fun podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry, I brutally verbally assaulted you. That's what I do with every guest. I just
I
start vomiting.
I'm all about that.
Fuck yeah.
I love swearing.
Fuck yeah. Woo!
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Woo!
yeah. Some people. Yeah. Fuck, bitch, cunt.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's I love this podcast, and fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'll see you Wednesday. You, me, Ken.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Ken to throw cold water on my ideas. It's not even my idea, really.
He will. He will.
Max's idea.
He will.
Like I like to think that maybe there's still a reason to build something like that.
There has to
it would
be.
Cool as hell to have something like that.
Ken wouldn't respond to my emails within minutes when I send him anything about Sea Dragon if there wasn't part of his mind that still had a little flame in there. If he truly thought it was a stupid idea, he just probably would have stopped responding to me. Ken is like his long lost crush is emailing him. I bring up something about Sea Dragon and Ken lights up like a fucking Christmas tree. Otherwise, I gotta poke at him to get responses from him. You mentioned Sea Dragon, he comes alive, which means that there's still something in there that thinks that it can happen. And
cool.
Fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I thought this whole Sea Dragon thing might be too in the weeds for
we just discussed Sonic Sat. There's nothing more in the weeds than Sonic Sat. That is.
Yeah, I mean,
it is the definition of going out in the weeds.
Cool. I like talking about that stuff. Like, I hope this is interesting to you and to Ken too. I'd like to talk about him. Like, is there still a reason to like go back to an older technology? You know, like pressure fed rockets, big dumb boosters, that whole thing. I'm looking forward to see what he has to say about that.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
And I need to thank you for giving me this opportunity, like of
course.
to talk to you and to talk to him. Like I never thought I'd have a chance to talk to someone who actually knew Bob Drew.
Exactly, dude. He's cool as fuck. Ken's cool as fuck.
Yeah, I could tell he's like gives you life lessons in addition to talking about.
He does. Ken's very spiritual. It's very I've talked to Ken on the phone a couple times. Ken is he's full of love, full of wisdom. He wants the best for you. Ken is the grandfather that we didn't ask for, but that we needed. It's shout out Ken. Shout out Ken. Next Wednesday, everybody, Ken Mason, me and Nick, we're gonna get going and probably have our ideas shit all over. But to anyone that's listening to Sonic Sat and going into a rage about why it won't happen, that's cool. Comment in the video. Come on the podcast. Shoot it down. I don't give a fuck. Bring a good attitude and a good internet connection. Have a good time. I don't give a fuck, dude. It's a podcast. There's no direction. We're not going anywhere. You can't do it wrong. It's nothing. It's just a sandbox game. It's Gary's mod. You're just playing. There's nothing to do. It just fucking doesn't matter. It's chalk. Just go draw dicks. You don't have to draw anything.
Just shoot the shit.
Fuck yeah, man. Well. All right, I'm gonna go. I need to go get some food.
Right. Yeah, I better get back to work myself.
All right, dog.
This is fun.
Yeah, man. It normally takes several hours to upload. They're probably up tonight. I'll let you know when it's up. I'll text you after this. And good talking, man.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks for having me.
Fuck yeah, buddy. Thank you for coming on.
Right.
Peace.
Yep. Peace.